Please subscribe to Face TV Africa and turn the notification on. Face TV Africa, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ subscribe, hete.
Face TV was Swoby.
Good day, welcome to this broadcast. Today we are looking at still the military coup in Gabon, and it has spurred reactions from different political leaders. Now, Atiku has spoken on the military coup, and he's advising African leaders that democracy and democratic governance have come to stay as a preferred form of governance. He also condemned the recent coup in Gabon and calls for a focus on addressing the root causes of coup in Africa. He suggests diplomatic engagement by ECOWAS and the African Union to encourage soldiers to return to the barracks. Former Vice President urged African leaders to focus on the causes of the coup. We should not look at the symptom. It is abnormal for a doctor wanting to treat a patient looking at the symptoms and not the root cause of the sickness. You cannot cure cancer with malaria medicine. So that is the long and short of what Atiku is saying. And also I think he is referring to the president of ECOWAS, that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that we should address the root cause of the continent's recent surge in coup rather than the symptoms. Although he condemned the coup in the Central African country, adding that everything should be done to maintain democracy on the continent. The coup in Gabon stands condemned. Democracy and democratic governance have come to stay as a preferred form of governance. It's a politician's ideology, but the people now are looking at the option of military system of government, because democratic system of government so far have not yielded the dividends of democracy. I always repeat this, and I'm still repeating it again. The people will want to prefer another system, if not the military, but not democracy. And he said that the authority should open a window of diplomatic engagement, that is the African Union, that will pave the way for soldiers to return to the barracks. So it is about diplomatic engagement. It's about dialogue, because force, the use of force, would not be tenable in the crisis we have concerning African coup in Niger and also Gabon. Yes, the latest coup brings the number of military takeovers in Central and West Africa to 8 since 2020. This is worrisome and calls for introspection. We may have to focus on dealing with the disease and not the symptoms that birth coup. Still, after the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party is still saying that, he's still reiterating, recalling that we need to deal with the root cause of the problem. Now, it is time that we need to look at introspection. Yes, take a look back at what has gone wrong with our democracy since, I think, over 200 years in Africa. Africa have been lagging behind when it comes to development. The world has moved forward, but Africa lagging behind. All natural resources needed to move Africa forward is in Africa. Even some of the Western countries, European countries, are depending on Africa's natural resource to sustain their economies. They exploit African economies, African resource to sustain and also to maintain their standard of living. Why is it that Africa that has these resources are not using it to better their continent? Africa, one of the less developed continents in the world amongst the 7 continents. You see all these kinds of things. So Atiku is telling the President Tinubu and the African Union that they should focus on the root cause. It is common sense that when you are dealing with a thing, look at the foundation of the thing. But it seems our leaders are wanting to put their focus on things that are not supposed to be looked at. Now, the military invasion of the Niger Republic would not yield any results. Instead, it's going to create more animosity among African nations, and that will give France the opportunity, world powers, imperialists, the opportunity to keep on exploiting the African continent. They want to put you in this array so that they can have their way exploiting the African continent. When there is no unity, there is no moving forward. So Africa needs to unite. African Union has already condemned the coup in Gabon, and they are looking for sanctions. And I don't think that is the way to go at this point in time, because if you are putting up sanctions, we are having these countries as sovereign countries, and they want to have to put their leg on the ground, like Niger has done. Niger told French ambassador to the country, Ite, to leave the country. That's the last 4 days, but he has refused. Now, the junta in Niger Republic cut off the light and infrastructure water from the French ambassador's office and has told him to leave the country. This is as a result of sanctions you give to such countries. They want to retaliate back, and it's going to cause animosity amongst nations. So it is very, very wise to look at the foundation of the problem, that is the disease, and not focus on the symptoms. Yes, we know that everybody is against military rule, but what do we do at this point in time? What do you expect us to do when the civilian regime, when democracy has brought the country backward and the politicians are the cause of this? Looking at Cameroonian's president, he has been there for more than 40 years. He's old and he's almost bedwetting, and still he wants to become president. Is that not an irony? Somebody who is over 80 and still wants to become president. He has been president since the inception of his democracies, yet the country has not been moving forward and still wants to be president. So if now there is a military takeover, some people will now come out and say that we condemn, it's not good, it is not good. So what is happening? Paul Kagame has been there for almost 23 years, and no one else, although he's performing well and better, but in developed societies, this democracy, this is not a monarchical system of government. In developed societies, there's a time frame for elections. We test new hands. What you need to do is build institutions that work, and we have different persons running these institutions at different points in time. So I personally would not go against the coup in Gabon, because if your politicians are using democracy to put you in bondage, then you need to liberate yourself with whatever means. If the military coup in Gabon means liberating Gabonese citizens, then it is a welcome idea. Although the president of ECOWAS reacted to the coup and said it is an autocratic contagion. That's a big grammar, autocratic contagion. And he said it's spreading across Africa, and he is committed to working with other heads of state in the continent to defend democracy. Yes, let's defend democracy, and let the defense of democracy show on the lives of the people. Let it show on the continent. You can't say you are defending democracy for years and there's nothing to show about it. The African continent is not moving forward and you are defending democracy. Mr. Tinubu stated, well, this is the first response to the Gabon coup, according to his spokesperson during the Lally, that's spokesperson of Ebola Tinubu. He said the president is watching development unfolding in Gabon very closely and with deep concern for the country's socio-political stability. Yes, that is another big grammar. But let's look at, when we talk about social political stability, it is that system that favors the politicians. If you say economic stability, then I believe it's going to be the people. It is those that are in political power that are looking for social political stability. Is about having stability for politicians, but socio-economic stability is having stability for the people. So he said that he's watching very closely with deep concern for the country and its socio-political stability. He said the seeming autocratic contagion appearing to spread to other parts of the African continent. He's saying the autocracy is contagious. You know, when something is contagious, you can, like the COVID-19 virus, you can get it from somebody as easy as possible. So African countries, it is getting from Niger, you have Gabon, from Gabon you might get to Cameroon, from Cameroon you might get to Zimbabwe, from Zimbabwe you might get to Nigeria. So that's why he's saying that it's contagious. But we believe that the issue with Gabon is an issue with other countries. And we pray that politicians get it right at this point in time, so that we will not find ourselves in a hell of military coup in Africa. Yes, Niger gone, Gabon gone. Which country next would be having a coup? So that's the question. That's what's on people's minds. We know that the president of Rwanda has retired over 1,000 military officers, and also Paul Biya of Cameroon has reshuffled his cabinet. Everybody is afraid of a military coup. Why being afraid of a military coup if you are not doing what is right? So that's the question. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Thanks for watching.
Please subscribe to Face TV Africa and turn the notification on. Face TV Africa, subscribe, hete.
Face TV was Swoby.